That's hard to explain. I feel like somebody is just pushing me all the time. I feel like I'm living two lives. You're the reason I'm here.
A fan's loyalty is sometimes best explained by location. Jacksonville's Richard Bremer has lived in Florida his entire life, so his favorite football team has been the Florida Gators.
Orange and blue every time I saw him for as long as I can remember.
The whole family liked Florida. I was a Gator.
In 1996, when Richard was just 29, he says he was feeling run down and couldn't get through the day. He was diagnosed with sarcoidosis, a progressive disease that causes scarring and scaling in the lungs. By 2012, he had 20% lung function.
He had to be on 100% oxygen, 24/7.
It's like drowning on Earth, not being able to breathe. That's when they said I need to get a transplant, or you're gonna die if you don't get a transplant. The hardest thing about waiting is knowing what you're wishing for is somebody's worst nightmare.
She just was full of energy and had such a zest for life.
Megan Twist loved spending her Saturdays at Sanford Stadium, cheering on her Bulldogs.
She absolutely loved Georgia. She thought Georgia was the greatest thing in the world.
She was always the one standing up, screaming the whole time, rooting on the dogs.
And when the Athens, Georgia native moved to Jacksonville, Florida, in the summer of 2016, she took her allegiance with her.
Georgia and Florida, they don't get along, and she didn't want anything to do with Florida. She just couldn't stand them.
Glen Brunswick 911, where is the emergency?
If you can take somebody to Indigo Costa Shanty.
On the evening of November 26, 2016, Megan was seriously injured in a car accident.
I just noticed he's outside of the car, unconscious on the ground.
She was airlifted to a trauma center in Jacksonville.
The neurosurgeon took us into a room, the whole family, and he had our MRIs up on a screen. He said, "I don't know what happened to your daughter's skull, but it's the worst thing I've seen in 18 years.
The doctors told us that there was nothing that they could do for her. She had succumbed to such horrific head trauma. And they took her off the ventilator for 10 minutes, and she never took a breath. And that's when they gave us her time of death.
Megan Twist died on November 28, 2016. 4 months earlier, on her 23rd birthday, she had checked the box on her driver's license, deciding to be an organ donor.
She just loved helping people, so it's very fitting that she ended up helping others after she died.
I felt like giving up. And that was the night I got a call.
On November 29, 2016, after waiting 2.5 years for a lung transplant, Richard had a match.
This is it. I died for 15 minutes. I left my body and went into the light. I met a little girl.
After a 10-hour transplant surgery and several weeks in a medically induced coma, Richard says he had just woken up when a news story came on the hospital room television.
A family who lost their loved one around Thanksgiving is finally feeling a bit of joy knowing
He still, at this time, still has a trach-in, can't speak.
Their family hopes to eventually meet someone who is living today because of Megan.
He's trying to lip something to me, and I'm trying to understand, so I had him write on some paper. And he writes on this paper, "She never left me."
I was freaking out.
Absolutely. It gives you goosebumps to hear Tarek, and today
The girl on the TV was the girl that I saw in the light. She told me it wasn't my time. Then I couldn't stay. But she said she was gonna breathe for me.
Her lungs went to a 49-year-old man.
I love you.
Shortly after his surgery, Richard says he felt different. It wasn't his doing, but his football loyalty had shifted.
Kind of woke up with a different, a different perspective. I got rid of all my Florida stuff after my transplant. It's Georgia now. So I'm a Bulldog fan. I've got somebody else's DNA in me. That's changed me a little bit. I breathe red and black.
I think Megan would be so tickled knowing that she was able to convert a Florida fan to a Georgia fan. And I sure hope that Richard will be just as loud and obnoxious as she is at a Georgia game.
This fall, Richard got his chance. When he and Megan's family went to a game together in Athens, and he used his new lungs to cheer for his new team.
Megan's lungs are strong.
You never dream about part of your child living in someone else. But after meeting Richard, it has just been an incredible experience. And I know that's what Megan would have wanted.
It's just an incredible gift to know that Megan is alive in him.
Megan's with me every day. She's pushing me every day. Hopefully she's enjoying the ride. I'll try to take it as far as I can go.